Welcome to Legend Stories channel, where ancient tales, timeless wisdom, and magical adventures come alive. Let the legend begin. 200 or 300 years ago, when people were far from being so crafty and cunning as they are nowadays, an extraordinary event took place in a little town. By some mischance, one of the great horned owls had come from the neighboring woods into the barn of one of the townsfolk in the night time. And when day broke, the poor owl did not dare to venture forth again from her retreat, for fear of the other birds, which raised a terrible outcry whenever she appeared. In the morning, when the manservant went into the barn to fetch some straw, he was so mightily alarmed at the sight of the owl sitting there in a corner, that he ran away and announced to his master that a monster, the like of which he had never seen in all his life, and which could devour a man without the slightest difficulty, was sitting in the barn, rolling its eyes about in its head. "I know you already," said the master. "You have courage enough to chase a blackbird across the fields, but when you see a dead hen lying, you must fetch a stick before you go near it. I must go and see for myself what kind of monster this is." And the master went quite boldly into the granary, and looked round him. But when he saw the strange grim creature with his own eyes, he was no less terrified than the servant had been. With two great bounds he sprang out, ran to his neighbors, and begged them imploringly to lend him assistance against an unknown and dangerous beast, or else the whole town might be in danger, if it were to break loose from the barn where it was shut up. A great noise and clamor arose in all the streets. The townsmen came armed with spears, hay-forks, scythes, and axes, as if they were going out against an enemy. Finally, the senators appeared with the burgomaster at their head. When they had drawn up in the marketplace, they marched to the barn and surrounded it on all sides. Thereupon one of the most courageous among them stepped forth, and entered with his spear lowered. But immediately afterwards, he came running out with a shriek, as pale as death, and could not utter a single word. Yet two others ventured in, and they fared no better. At last one stepped forth, a great strong man famous for his warlike deeds. "You will not drive away the monster by merely looking at it," said he. "We must be in earnest here. But I see you have all turned into women. Not one of you dares to face the animal." He ordered them to bring him armor, a sword, and a spear. All praised his courage, though many feared for his life. The two barn doors were opened, and there they saw the owl, perched on the middle of a great cross beam. He had a ladder brought, and as he raised it, and made ready to climb up, they all cried out to him to bear himself bravely, and commended him to St. George, who slew the dragon. When he had just reached the top, the owl perceived that he had designs on her. Bewildered by the crowd and the shouting, knowing not how to escape, she rolled her eyes, ruffled her feathers, flat her wings, snapped her beak, and cried in a harsh voice, "Tit-too! Strike home! Strike home!" Screamed the crowd outside to the valiant hero. "Anyone who stood where I am standing," answered he, trembling, "would not cry, 'Strike home!'" He planted one foot one rung higher on the ladder, then began to shake, and half fainting, went back down again. And now there was no one left who dared to put himself in such danger. "The monster," said they, "has poisoned and mortally wounded the strongest man among us, merely by snapping at him, and by breathing upon him. Are we, too, to risk our lives?" So they took counsel as to what they might do to prevent the whole town from being destroyed. For a long time, nothing seemed to be of use, but at length the burgomaster found an expedient. "My opinion," said he solemnly, "is that we ought, out of the common purse, to pay for this barn, and whatsoever corn, straw, or hay it contains, thus indemnifying the owner, then burn down the whole building, and the terrible beast with it. This is no time for stinginess, and economy would be ill applied." All agreed with him, so they set fire to the barn at all four corners. The flames roared, smoke filled the air, and with it, the owl was miserably burnt. Let anyone who will not believe it, go thither, and inquire for himself. Thank you for watching Legend Stories channel, where every story carries a timeless lesson. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming tales from around the world.